Hey, welcome back. Today I'm going to try another easy recipe that I found off the internet, and this one is for air fryer bagels, and it says it only takes 2 ingredients. Let's see how it goes. So my first issue with this recipe is that the 2 ingredients it calls for are self-rising flour and yogurt, and I don't have self-rising flour, but I did a little research and found out I can just make self-rising flour by adding baking powder to it. So I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to use yogurt. And then, oh yeah, if you actually want it to be brown on top, you got to melt a little bit of butter. And then if you want anything on top of your bagels, any kind of seasonings, that's another ingredient. So maybe a little skeptical on the 2 ingredients, but otherwise it seems pretty straightforward. And for seasonings, I'm going to use everything bagel mix because that's my favorite bagel. So yeah, let's get started and we'll see how it goes. Okay, so this is a case where probably measuring by weight rather than volume would be very helpful for me because my conversion for all-purpose flour to self-rising flour, I have 1 cup of all-purpose flour to 2 teaspoons of baking powder. That's fine, except this recipe calls for 1 3/4 cup of flour. So it's not quite a 1 to, it's not an even thing. You know what I'm saying? Right now, I am that meme with the numbers. So I'm doing the best I can. I've upped this recipe to 2 cups. The original says 1 3/4. I made it 2 cups. So that means I added 4 teaspoons. I'll put this in the directions. Don't worry about it. 4 teaspoons of baking powder in with my flour and mixed it up. This guy said that in your all-purpose flour, put in a 1/16 of a teaspoon of salt. I Googled it. Self-rising flour does not necessarily have salt in it. So I threw a little pinch and I mixed it up really well in the bowl there. So since I'm adding a little more flour than his recipe, I'm also going to add a little more of the Greek yogurt. Okay, so I've got it mixed up. I had to add a lot more yogurt than I expected in order to get it to look like this. We'll see. So now I'm supposed to lightly flour surface, and I'm adding a little bit more. As I said, I added more flour than the recipe said, which then meant that I had to add more yogurt than the recipe said. And so now I have this kind of sticky mess. So we'll see it. Now, directions for this: knead several times until smooth. I don't know what that means. Several times? It's more than 3, but less than a lot? I don't know, and it's still a little sticky. So this one says, in the short version, divide this into 4s. And in the longer version, which is buried in the story of childhood memories of bagels and the history of bagels and all that. Anyway, in there it says divide this into 4. So I've got my dough divided into 4, and now I'm going to roll this out into a sausage shape, which just means roll it out into a long, right? I feel like I'm overthinking some of the things here. And then connect to form a bagel. So this is my long dough. I'm going to connect it. So there I have my 4, that's normal size bagels. So we'll see. So next we're going to put some melted butter on here and sprinkle some of my seasonings, and then we're going to get ready to put them in the air fryer. Line your air fryer with parchment paper. This is the air fryer that we use. It's a Bear brand. I'll put a link in the directions and in the links page. Um, it's been great for us. There's just two of us here, me and Mrs. Unseasoned Baker. So we don't need to air fry like big amounts of things, but it's really easy to use and it fits enough stuff for us. And bonus, when I bought it, they included these round paper, parchment paper things. So I'm going to use it, but you can just use regular parchment paper and cut it in a circle or square or whatever. So I think I'm just going to be able to fit 2 bagels at a time. And they're really sticky on the bottom. So, and see, they're coming apart. So this air fryer, they all work a little bit differently, but pretty similar. I like this. It's pretty deep, and it's got this thing that comes out. And so it's pretty easy to clean if you don't use the parchment paper, but I'm trying not to get everything bagel seasoning and flour and everything else all over the place. There we go. So I'm going to drop this in here. It says don't overcrowd them. I don't think there's any way. Maybe cutting this into 8 may be the way to go. Now, most air fryer recipes that I use tell you to preheat the air fryer. This did not. It just says to cook this at 350 for 10 minutes. So, only one thing about this air fryer, it's minimal, is that this air fryer only goes up to 390, and a lot of recipes that you'll see for things call for 400, but I have found you just need to cook things a couple of minutes extra, and they cook through. I always use if I'm cooking chicken, that's a whole nother story. Panko battered chicken tenderloins. Oh, they're so good in here. Get a meat thermometer and just make sure that it's cooked all the way through. So I've got my time, and now at 350 for 10 minutes. It does say don't overcook them, so I am going to probably check them at 5, and we'll just see. So didn't preheat. No idea. I have a feeling, this is my prediction, the second batch is going to do better than the first batch because I always preheat before. We shall see. So I'm going to put the second ones in, but I want to show you now what these look like. So they look pretty good. The bottoms, the thing with the air fryer is usually when you're cooking like chicken and stuff, halfway through you would flip it over. And I don't know. I'm thinking, he didn't say this, but I think I'm going to put these on a rack rather than a plate to cool because I'm afraid the bottom will get soggy, and we don't want soggy bottoms. So I'm going to put this on a rack, and I'm going to throw the other ones in, and we're going to have a taste test very soon. Okay, so the second batch is done, and you know what? They look even better than the first batch. So I'm going to say, in my directions, I'm going to recommend probably preheating the air fryer a little bit. Sides are really hot, so don't touch the sides of your air fryer. So the ones in back are the ones that were the first batch, and the ones in the front in the second batch. I think cooling on a rack is the way to go because they are getting kind of sticky on the bottom. And look at that, no mess. So that's nice. Really nice, because I'll tell you what, the rest of the kitchen here is a wreck. I think maybe just a little bit smaller than this would be good. So I'm going to cut this bagel style. Yeah, this, this makes me think almost like a biscuit. That needs to do something. It's very sticky inside. That either needs to cool off completely or bake some more. I think Paul Hollywood would say that's underdone. It tastes like a biscuit. Like I want to put gravy on this. It's not bad. I may search for some more recipes and see if we can fine tune this a little bit. It's doable. It's achievable. It's not the tastiest bagel I've ever had, but I made it at home, and was just a few ingredients. And hopefully, if it cools down completely, maybe that inside will get a little more cooked. And this one kind of closed up in the middle. That's the other thing. I think they were too big. Maybe for this air fryer, they were too crowded together, and the center kind of closed up, and so then the interior didn't cook. So maybe I picked a bad one to start with. Um, anyway, that's it. I'll put the recipe in the directions, and please do comment and let me know if you've tried this and what you think, or if you've got a better air fryer bagel recipe, because I really like the idea of this. This one, I just don't feel like it's 100% there yet. Smells great. Mrs. Unseasoned Baker told me that just a minute ago. That house smells amazing. So there's that. Uh, but we'll see. Try it. It's achievable.